2:15 a.m. Korean Demilitarized Zone. Darkness, silence. Then, across a 100-kilometer front, every GPS signal died. South Korean military vehicles lost navigation. Commercial aircraft over Seoul received warnings. Civilian smartphones showed error messages. 28 million people suddenly cut off from the satellite network that runs modern civilization. North Korea had just activated the most powerful GPS jamming operation in history. 15 ground-based jammers, coordinated from Pyongyang, transmitting at maximum power. The signal was so strong it reached 200 kilometers into South Korean territory. Their calculation was simple: blind the Americans, disable their precision weapons, prove their military operates on technology that can be switched off with a button. But North Korea didn't know three things. First, U.S. forces Korea had been tracking their jammer installations for 6 months. Second, American military systems hadn't relied solely on GPS since 2019. Third, the backup navigation network North Korea didn't know existed was about to come online. What happened in the next 29 minutes exposed the most catastrophic intelligence failure in North Korean military history. This is that story. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, 250 kilometers of fortified border, the most militarized frontier on Earth. 1.2 million North Korean troops on one side, 600,000 South Korean and 28,500 American forces on the other. Both sides watching, both sides waiting. For months, U.S. intelligence had monitored unusual activity along North Korea's side of the DMZ. Construction at 15 sites, large antenna arrays being installed, power infrastructure being upgraded. The pattern was unmistakable. GPS jamming facilities, high-power transmitters designed to overwhelm satellite signals, blind navigation systems, disable precision weapons. At U.S. Indo-Pacific Command headquarters in Hawaii, analysts compiled the intelligence. North Korea was building the capability to paralyze modern military operations across the entire Korean peninsula, and they were almost ready to test it. At 11:30 p.m. on February 14th, U.S. Space Force tracking stations detected unusual electromagnetic activity from North Korea, power signatures consistent with jammer activation tests. The systems were going online. At midnight, U.S. Forces Korea went to elevated alert status. All units notified, communications protocols updated, backup systems prepared. At 1:45 a.m., South Korean intelligence reported increased North Korean military radio traffic, coded messages, command coordination. Something was about to happen. At 2 a.m., U.S. reconnaissance satellites detected all 15 North Korean jamming facilities powering up simultaneously. This wasn't a test. This was the real operation. At 2:10 a.m., U.S. Indo-Pacific Command transmitted emergency orders to all forces on the Korean peninsula. Expect GPS denial, execute backup protocols, maintain all operations, show no disruption. At 2:15 a.m., North Korea activated every jammer at maximum power. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Across South Korea, GPS signals vanished. Military vehicles showed navigation errors. Artillery systems lost positioning data. Aircraft received satellite failure warnings. Even civilian smartphones displayed GPS signal lost messages. In Seoul, air traffic control issued emergency notifications. 14 commercial aircraft in South Korean airspace reported navigation degradation. Backup systems engaged. Flights continued, but the disruption was real. South Korean military command centers lit up with alerts, hundreds of systems reporting GPS failure simultaneously. Tank battalions, artillery units, naval vessels, all experiencing the same problem at the same instant. In Pyongyang, North Korean Strategic Command watched their operation succeed beyond expectations. Status boards showed GPS denial across 200 kilometers of South Korean territory. American forces were blind. Their technology had failed. General Kim Yong-chol, North Korea's military intelligence chief, addressed his staff. The Americans rely on satellites. We have proven those satellites can be neutralized. Their precision weapons are useless. Their forces cannot navigate. This is our strategic advantage. But 400 kilometers south, the American response was already underway, and it wasn't panic. At 2:15:47 a.m., 13 seconds after GPS signals died, U.S. military systems began automatic transition protocols. Camp Humphreys, the largest U.S. military installation in South Korea. 47 aircraft experienced GPS failure, but within 90 seconds, every single aircraft's navigation systems came back online. Not with GPS, with something else. eLoran. Enhanced long-range navigation, a ground-based positioning system using high-power radio transmitters, developed specifically as GPS backup, accurate to within 10 meters, immune to satellite jamming. 5 eLoran stations across South Korea, installed quietly over the past 3 years, transmitted positioning signals that North Korean jammers couldn't touch. Every U.S. aircraft, every vehicle equipped with military navigation systems seamlessly switched from GPS to eLoran. No interruption, no degradation, no mission impact. At 2:17 a.m., U.S. military operations continued exactly as before. Apache helicopters maintained patrol routes. F-16 fighters continued air defense missions. Patriot missile batteries tracked targets with full accuracy. Artillery systems calculated firing solutions without missing a single data point. North Korea's jamming operation had zero effect on U.S. military capability. But the American response wasn't just defensive, it was a demonstration. At 2:18 a.m., U.S. Cyber Command activated electronic warfare protocols, not to jam North Korean systems, to show them what the U.S. could see. 3 RC-135 Rivet Joint Electronic Surveillance aircraft orbiting in international airspace east of North Korea had been tracking every jammer since they powered up. Now, they transmitted precise location data of all 15 facilities directly to North Korean military frequencies. The message was clear. We know exactly where your jammers are. We've been watching you build them. We can target them anytime we choose. At 2:20 a.m., U.S. Space Force activated classified satellite assets, not GPS satellites. Military positioning satellites operating on frequencies North Korean jammers couldn't reach. These satellites had been in orbit for years, unknown to North Korean intelligence. Now, they provided positioning data to U.S. forces with accuracy superior to civilian GPS. At 2:22 a.m., U.S. ground forces activated inertial navigation systems, military-grade gyroscopes and accelerometers that track position without any external signals. These systems had been calculating position since before the jamming started. They continued operating perfectly, completely immune to any electronic warfare. By 2:25 a.m., 10 minutes after North Korea activated their jammers, every U.S. military system on the Korean peninsula was operating at 100% capability using 4 different backup navigation methods North Korea didn't know existed. And then, the U.S. sent North Korea a message they would never forget. At 2:28 a.m., a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, flying in international airspace 50 kilometers east of North Korea, activated its electronic warfare suite. Not to jam, to communicate. The aircraft transmitted on North Korean military command frequencies, in Korean. The message was simple. Your GPS jamming operation began at 2:15 a.m. You activated 15 facilities at the following coordinates. The transmission listed every jammer location with precision down to 5 meters. U.S. Forces Korea experienced zero operational impact. All systems remain fully functional. Recommend you reconsider this strategy. In Pyongyang, North Korean command centers went silent. How did the Americans know the exact locations? How were they still operating? How had their intelligence been so catastrophically wrong? At 2:31 a.m., U.S. Indo-Pacific Command transmitted a second message, this time to South Korean forces, but designed for North Korea to intercept. GPS denial operation has zero effect on combined forces readiness. All backup navigation systems operating normally. Recommend continuation of all scheduled exercises and operations. The subtext was unmistakable. Your jamming failed. We never stopped. We have systems you didn't know about. Your intelligence is incomplete. At 2:35 a.m., U.S. Forces Korea demonstrated the point with deliberate precision. 4 AH-64 Apache helicopters, supposedly blinded by GPS jamming, conducted a night formation flight along the DMZ, flying at 50 meters altitude in perfect coordination, executing tactical maneuvers, all visible to North Korean observation posts. The message: we don't need GPS to operate. At 2:38 a.m., a U.S. Army artillery battery, supposedly unable to calculate firing solutions, conducted a live fire exercise at a South Korean training range. 6 M109 Paladin self-propelled howitzers fired precision shots at targets 25 kilometers away. All rounds hit within 3 meters of aim points. The message: our precision weapons work perfectly without GPS. At 2:41 a.m., 2 F-35A Lightning stealth fighters took off from Osan Air Base. They flew a patrol route along the DMZ, maintaining exact positioning, executing coordinated maneuvers, demonstrating full operational capability. The message: your jamming is irrelevant. We have multiple backup systems you don't understand. At 2:44 a.m., exactly 29 minutes after North Korea activated their GPS jamming operation, U.S. Forces Korea transmitted a final message on North Korean military frequencies. GPS denial operation observed and cataloged. U.S. military operations continue without interruption. Alternative navigation systems fully operational. Jamming infrastructure locations confirmed. Recommend cessation of current operation. At 2:47 a.m., North Korean jammers went silent. All 15 facilities powered down simultaneously. The GPS denial operation was over. Not because it succeeded, because North Korea realized it had catastrophically failed. Within hours, the strategic implications became clear. North Korea had revealed their capability. The U.S. had revealed something far more important. North Korea's intelligence on American military systems was dangerously incomplete. South Korean media reported the GPS disruption. News broadcasts showed civilian confusion, navigation errors, flight warnings. North Korean state media claimed a successful demonstration of electronic warfare superiority. But military analysts worldwide saw the truth. U.S. forces never stopped operating, not for 1 second. While civilian GPS failed, military systems seamlessly transitioned to backup networks. The jamming that was supposed to blind American forces had zero operational effect. The Pentagon released a carefully worded statement. U.S. Forces Korea maintained full operational readiness during a period of GPS interference. Multiple redundant navigation systems ensured zero mission degradation. All scheduled operations continued as planned. Translation: your jamming didn't work. We have systems you didn't know about. We were prepared. But the deeper message was strategic. For years, North Korea had built GPS jamming as a key component of their war planning. The assumption was simple. American forces depend on satellite navigation. Disable GPS, disable their military. That assumption was now proven wrong. And North Korea knew the U.S. knew they knew. Intelligence sources reported immediate effects inside North Korean command. Emergency meetings in Pyongyang, military officials demanding answers. How had U.S. forces continued operating? What systems did they use? Why had intelligence assessments been so incomplete? The answers were troubling for North Korea. eLoran ground stations installed over 3 years, providing positioning independent of satellites. North Korean intelligence had missed them entirely. Classified military satellites operating outside civilian GPS frequencies, immune to North Korean jamming capabilities. North Korea didn't know they existed. Inertial navigation systems far more sophisticated than North Korean analysts estimated, capable of maintaining accuracy for hours without external signals. Integrated multi-source navigation, seamlessly switching between GPS, eLoran, military satellites, inertial systems, and terrain matching, providing continuous positioning regardless of jamming. North Korea's war planning had assumed GPS denial would cripple U.S. forces. That assumption was now invalid, and rebuilding intelligence assessments would take years. But the most damaging aspect wasn't tactical, it was psychological. North Korea had played what they thought was a strategic card, demonstrating they could neutralize American technology. Instead, they had revealed the limits of their own understanding. Within weeks, the effects rippled across Northeast Asia. South Korea announced increased investment in eLoran infrastructure and military navigation systems. Japan requested information on U.S. backup navigation technologies. Even China, watching carefully, revised assessments of American military resilience. The message to all potential adversaries was clear. The U.S. military doesn't depend on single systems. Attacking one capability doesn't degrade operations. Backup networks exist that you don't know about. Your intelligence is incomplete. For North Korea specifically, the implications were stark. If their assessment of U.S. navigation systems was this wrong, what else had they misjudged? Air defense capabilities, electronic warfare, cyber operations, precision strike systems? 3 months later, North Korea had not attempted GPS jamming again, not because the capability disappeared, because they understood it was strategically useless. U.S. forces would continue operating regardless, and each jamming operation revealed more about North Korean capabilities while teaching them nothing new about American systems. This is modern military deterrence, not destroying enemy capabilities, but demonstrating they don't matter. Not revealing all your systems, but showing enough to prove the adversary's planning assumptions are invalid. North Korea tried to blind U.S. forces. Instead, they exposed their own intelligence blindness. At 2:15 a.m., 15 jammers activated. By 2:44 a.m., they were silent. In 29 minutes, North Korea learned what the Pentagon had known for years. GPS is one navigation method among many. American forces operate on redundant, layered, classified systems designed specifically to function when primary networks fail. Today, those eLoran stations still operate across South Korea. The classified military positioning satellites still orbit overhead. Inertial navigation systems still calculate position independent of any external signal. And U.S. forces still patrol the DMZ with full precision, full capability, full confidence. North Korea still has GPS jammers, but they don't activate them anymore. Because they learned the hard lesson. Electronic warfare only works if your intelligence is accurate. If you don't know what systems your adversary actually uses, jamming what you think they use is strategically worthless. 2:15 a.m. GPS signals died across South Korea. 2:44 a.m. U.S. forces proved they never needed them. 29 minutes, one demonstration, total intelligence failure. This is the Korean Peninsula. This is what happens when you assume American technology works the way you think it does. This is what happens when your war planning is based on incomplete intelligence. This is what happens when you try to blind forces that never depended on sight. North Korea tried to jam GPS. The U.S. activated systems Pyongyang didn't know existed. Zero American disruption, complete North Korean miscalculation. The backup networks remain classified. The operational advantage remains overwhelming, and North Korea remains silent.